All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Colman Power Organic Fitness Podcast. I have you have the latest of these shows with a solo Q&A. We don't do that many of these, and I do love them. I'm probably going to do more of them. And if you really enjoy them, make sure you send me a private message in relation to the likes of where you're following me, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube's, and that's where this bad boy is coming out as well. Okay, so we got 5 questions, right? Pulled from the likes of Instagram, TikTok, and people that I'm currently coaching and training right now. The first of the questions is, what do I eat in a day? Right? That comes from Instagram. Okay. What are your favorite protein foods? That comes from Da Butter, Butter. Then we have, following on that, what's your thoughts on collagen drinks? That comes from Flowerpot, which is Jenny, Flowerpot of 41. On TikTok, we have advice for someone finishing chemo, and that's someone that sent that in confidential in relation to staying anonymous. After that, what book are you currently reading? That comes from Noel in Limerick. Right? Your finds. And after that, let's rock and roll with this week's podcast. So straight away, off the bat, what do I eat in a day? And this is a really good question, and it doesn't change that much. But right now, I'll say it doesn't. We'll go 2 ways. It doesn't change that much, and it breaks down to this simple thing that protein, fats, and carbohydrates are what I eat every single day. The idea is my numbers don't change that much. Okay, and same with yours. When you understand that you need either a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of fats, and a certain amount of, I'm going to say, carbohydrates, right? Remembering the most important one, which is protein. And I would recommend 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kg. That is literally a simple number. Let's go with, if you are 70 kg, okay, you multiply that by 1.5 or 2. Make it easy for the numbers right now for Colman. It's 2. It's about 140 grams of protein per day. Right? The numbers do not change for me. So that means I divide that by 3. Okay? This is where it gets more difficult when I'm live. Okay, divide that by 3. It's about 40. It's more than 40. It's just shy of 50. It's 43.33. Amazing how my brain just got that there. And that just means, right, that's my target for each one of my main meals. Breakfast, I hit 40 grams of protein, roughly. For my dinner, I have 40 grams of protein, and for my lunch I also have 40 grams. If I don't hit 40 in one of those meals, that just means I need to get a snack or something in between, whether it's a boiled egg and or some yogurts after my dinner, that helps me to hit the overall total of 140 grams for the day. So what typical foods are we eating a day? I love sourdough breads, I love fermented foods, I like touching on the likes of, I'm going to say I'm having more, I'm going to say bone broth now first thing in the morning, which is really important for my, I'm going to say, skin health. And that just helps me throughout the summer months. And that's really key for both men and women, and something that I would coach on the programs, to have a fermented food or something that it's high in, I'm going to say, all essential or amino acids for the likes of skin health. So that's kind of very, very important. And after that, like, there's always high antioxidants, herbs and spices, and that's in season right now. That's basil or basil, if you pronounce it differently in America. I will be having tomatoes very shortly when this podcast comes out. The first of the lads in season that literally, again, are so key for the likes of your, I'm going to say, overall gut health, which affects your skin health, which affects your mood and your confidence out the other side of it. So yes, eat the foods that are in season. I also am a firm believer in the high magnesium, high vitamin C, classic, begins with C, coriander. Couldn't really think of it. There we go. So the coriander is something that, again, is something that is high in all those vitamins and minerals, and also contains fiber. And for those people that often ask me, this is such a common question: cholesterol. What can I do with it naturally? Eating fiber-filled foods. This, as I'm holding, if you haven't heard it, in my hands is an apple. If you eat one of those a day, you will get at least 5 grams of fiber, a whole apple. And don't literally spare the core, because that's where some of the best stuff is. And definitely get it organic, because that's something also that you can gain the advantage of. Okay, getting most of the antioxidants and benefit nutrients are located just below, if not in the skin of the likes of your apple. Okay, you can get it organically, because I highly recommend you to, because it's something that can be sprayed up to 10 times in a growing season. That's a no-brainer. Kefir is something that I've also been creating. I got grains from a friend of mine, and that is something that is now that all of the people in my private group are now currently doing, because we're sharing around the likes of those oats to different people who want to again improve the likes of their gut health. So that's something as a natural probiotic. I love probiotics. You can eat too many probiotics, and that's something that I have come into, I'm going to say, occurrence or complications with myself, because when I first started my journey, I always thought that more was better. Not necessarily. Not more training, not more water. But in saying that, I will take a sip of water. In that is actually some fennel to aid in digestion. Really important to do those simple things without a shadow of a doubt. Other things that I would have throughout my day would be, I'm going to say, I would add in some tofu and some fermented soya, which would be tempeh, as well as having meats, as well as having eggs, which are nature's multivitamin. All things I really, really do love in itself. And I suppose that kind of leads me on to what's my favorite protein? My favorite protein. It's like asking what's my favorite child. If I was to tell you straight up off the bat, I'm going to give you my top 3. Eggs have got to be up there, because you can literally get so many advantages from the egg. And they can be cooked so many different ways. You can scramble it, you can boil it, you can eat it raw if you want to do rocky. I used to do that. I don't do that anymore because I much more value the taste of foods in itself. So that's definitely one thing that I would put up there. Number 1 has got to be eggs. Number 2, it's got to be something like fishy. Sardines. Sardines is number 2. Sardines is number 2. Definitely. Shines, I love them. Shines tuna is what they're labelled as. They're an Irish product, sustainably caught, and I've had them on the podcast talking all about that as well. So I would lean towards my second protein source. Again, it contains vitamin D naturally, especially important for the winter, because I don't take any vitamin D supplements. I usually get it from the sun, and after that I get it from whole foods, whether it's cheese, and how it's literally and does come from those food items, whether it's the fish or the cheese or the eggs, is because the animals take in the sunlight and then give it off in their produce, whether it's an egg, their meat, or their anything else that they literally give off the cheese and make the product from. So that's what I do, and consuming them throughout the year. And as a result of that, then I'm much healthier out the other side, because I like to consume more every vitamin and mineral I can that is possible from whole foods. Okay, because you can, and most certainly that's what literally we did generations ago, before there was vitamins and minerals. Right, after that, what are we looking at? My third favourite protein source. I do love prawns, but I also love like yogurts, because yogurts are really a no-cook protein source. Bish, bash, bosh, take it out of the fridge. Amazing. Cannot go wrong with that. So that's definitely straight off the bat my top 3 protein sources. And they definitely the Glenisc one. There's non-dairy ones as well. But the idea is if you can't tolerate the non-dairy, it's something that is an issue with your gut in the first place. So well worth noting there. Okay. So after that, I also would be somebody to, I'm going to say, touch on the next question. So what's your thoughts on collagen drinks? So collagen drinks, again, are something that people are now making money off, and there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. But again, I get my collagen from, I'm going to say, oily fish. I get my collagen from the likes of bone broths, which I'm now drinking first thing in the morning. And that's really helpful, again, as I said, throughout the summer months, as well as the winter, because that's actually, it's all about your gut. Right? Your gut affects your skin, which is the largest organ in your body. So all the time, remember that you can get every vitamin, mineral, whether it's vitamin E, that literally in every face cream, the fancy face creams, from all the way to the likes of your vitamin C, which is in a pepper, and one pepper is higher than an orange in vitamin C. So there's your nutritional fact of the day. Eat the organic peppers, bish bash bash, because they also fall on that list of the dirty dozen that literally are highly recommended that you get organically for your not only skin health, but your gut health, which affects your skin health. Everything is connected in the body. There's a vagus nerve, okay, connecting your gut to your brain, and then from your gut affects your skin, your gut affects the likes of, I'm going to say, your mood and your energy levels, because that breaks down all the vitamins and minerals from every food item that you have, from breakfast to lunch to dinner and everything else in between. So that's my thoughts on that. I don't drink them myself. I've I've sampled a few. I have sampled a few, and there are friends of mine that do sell them. If you're not eating enough, and the definition of a supplement is to supplement what you cannot get from your diet. That's kind of it in a nutshell, and really good question. Advice for someone finishing chemo. Okay, the idea is, cancer is a serious illness that has touched the lives of so many different families, and there's very few people in this world that wouldn't know or be connected to someone that is a sufferer of cancer. So the idea is wishing you goodwill and sending you massive good vibes out the other side of it. And that's one sure way to, I suppose, make an improvement on whatever situation you are currently on. And the idea is for someone finishing chemo to get back on the highest, I'm going to say, antioxidant, organic whole foods that you can get into the likes of your self right now. There's different fasting protocols, and there's a book called, I think it's called Fasting Reset. I'll double check that and put it in the show notes, okay? And that's going to be beneficial for, again, starving out the likes of cancer. I would actually lean towards a more higher, I'm going to say, protein and higher healthy fat and relatively low carbohydrate, because we're trying to starve out the likes of, I'm going to say, cancer cells that really thrive on sugars, and even the natural sugars from apples, bananas, fruits, and or carbohydrates. Okay, but not eliminating them completely. But the idea is to most certainly work with like some nutritionist and a doctor that it can help you to, I suppose, get the best result for you possible. Okay, so the idea of that is I'd also suggest you listening to Jacinta Dalton, who's going through chemotherapy, and she was on the podcast there maybe 2 months ago. And she is someone who's based up in, and is one of the head organisers of in ATU up in Galway. Is in Galway based college for sure, and I'll double check that as well. But Jacinta Dalton is an absolute mind of information, super generous and kind for sharing her story about her treatment, and is still under treatment at this moment in time. So definitely well worth listening to her and her experience and how she's finding it. And I might try to get her on again before the year is out, because I'm really good friends with her, and I've done 2 different events up in the college with herself. And last question from Noel: what book am I currently reading? I love audible books. So I'm dyslexic by trade. I don't really have, not that I don't have the time, I don't make the time. I don't like to sit down that much. Recording these podcasts is probably as long as I will end up sitting down for the most part. And the idea is the book that I'm currently reading at the moment is actually about fasting. Okay, fasting is something that is interesting to me, and there are benefits to all different diets. But what I'm actually going to tell you is my favorite book of all time. It's called, The Principles of Success by Jack Canfield. I've listened to that book over 10 times. I sometimes just dive into it, and if I have nothing else to listen to, and I always listen to a book 15 minutes before bed, even if I am with some significant other. I'm like, I just need 15 minutes, come on. And that's what I like to listen to, because that really sets me up for the tone of the next day, because things you listen to last thing at night affect what you do first thing in the morning. And it's a really simple book, but it's quite a long book, and it just literally goes through the principles of, it's not actually how much money you make or what you do in a day, whether it's you have a self run business or you're someone that's employed by someone else. It's actually just generally being nice. It's actually, and that's what makes a successful person go really far, just being generally a nice person. And that's what I kind of strive myself on, because it's been done by coaches of mine. They're really one of the nicest people I've ever met. And the idea is, if you want things to, if you want to be successful, listen to people who've written books on topics that you're interested in. You can't recommend that enough, right? I suppose that's today's quick classic 5 Q&A questions that we pulled from the social medias. And if you're not most certainly following me on the likes of, I'm going to say, any of those platforms, which is my name, Colman Power Organic Fitness, check it out. All right. And or that, if anyone is interested in that private group, which has and does have a 7-day free trial with a community of people that are all on the same page, talking about different growing, nutrition, exercise, and coached by myself, send me a private message with the word organic, and I will literally hook you up with the likes of that link to join that group. Okay, for €49 a month, it's an absolute steal. It's under $160 a day. That's less than a cup of coffee. You get to hear my voice specifically with unique content to and from myself to you. All right. So other than that, I'll talk to you soon. And I always end these podcasts by saying, stay tuned, stay classy, and get on that good stuff.